Malice, I said with a grin. Cranking the engine, Sky paused before putting the car into drive. I watched her hand aggressively grab me by the shirt, pulling me into her face. That? Right there? She took a breath. Is why I fucking love you. I ran my tongue across my lips, feeling a warm sense of pride swelling inside my heart. I didn't have to save the world to be heroic in Sky's eyes. All she wanted was a gentleman who didn't mind beating someone's ass if it were necessary. Hours into our travel, we finally pulled up to a small cabin that overlooked the beach behind it. I laid our luggage inside the living area, scanning the small unit. Sky lured me towards the back deck, letting me breathe in my Mother Nature. I pressed my hands into the wooded railing, watching tiny waves roll onto shore. Lighting a cigar while Sky went inside to search for alcohol, I stood in place, just resting, peacefully, breathing in the salty air. It made me think of the shores back in Jersey and how I didn't miss being younger. What I was staring at felt like a piece of paradise Sky and her family used as a getaway. When all was said and done, I wanted something in correspondence with my freedom, somewhere I wouldn't have to fear of someone finding me and harming me or locking me up. The coldness of a bottle rested against my arm, pulled me from my thoughts. Why don't you get into something more suitable for comfort? Sky suggested. My eyes ran up and down her cut-off shorts that frayed at the edges, along with a white button-down that was merely transparent. I shook the thought away to calm my forming erection, handing her my cigar. I threw in a tank top with a pair of khaki shorts to satisfy my means for comfort. Slipping on all red Vans, I pulled the laces tightly before tucking them away. My belt gained length from the weight I had lost, so I slid it through my belt line and lighted against my thigh. Grabbing a bottle of vodka from the freezer, I made my way back out onto the deck. Sky was rested against the railing, sipping on a wine cooler, watching the waves. Her eyes met mine, then advanced down to my feet and back up again. A playful smile pulled at the corners of her mouth as she arched an eyebrow. What? I smiled. Sky let out a rugged breath. Nothing. You just look, spectacular. I downed a shot of harsh liquid before giving Sky a kiss strong enough to intoxicate. She pressed her hands into my chest, backing away to lick her lips as her stare veered off. Following her eyes out to the water as she smiled, I knew she was up to no good. Later on, you and I are going to, take a night swim. Boy, I do appreciate the sound of that, I replied, walking up behind her, placing my forefingers deep into her front pockets. Pressing them firmly into her hips, Sky's side relaxing against me as she fell into submission. I kissed up and down her neck, feeling the vodka exhilarate my thoughts. The sunset, being only 30 minutes away, had me carry my unstable weight down to the shoreline, and Sky staggered behind me, laughing and carrying on about God knows what. I felt the sand sloshing liquor all over my arm, laughing at the thought of drunken fish. "Oh, what a waste, babe," Sky joked, sitting beside me. I pulled off my socks and shoes, letting the cool water wash over my feet, gliding in between my toes. Digging into the sand, I watched tiny minnows swarm by in a school containing at least a few hundred little swimming bodies. The lower the sun sank, the higher the tide rolled in. I stood to my feet, barely able to stand, when Sky tackled me right back down into the crashing waves. And picking her up over my shoulder, I tossed her into the air, hearing her shrill all the way down. Coming up for air, Sky sprung upward, latching onto my back, dragging us both back down into the water. Struggling to open my eyes, the salt burned as I searched around for Sky. I saw a blurry silhouette approaching me until she clearly came into view. Grabbing my face, Sky gave me a long, drawn-out kiss before shooting up for oxygen. Running her hands through her wet hair, I couldn't help but catch sight of the thoracic eyes, the final rays from the sun illuminated before the abyss of her pupils dilated. And catching my gaze, Sky's eyes sharpened with an angelic smile as she began walking back towards the shore, silently drawing me after each tempting step she made. I reached sand, letting myself collapse onto its damp surface. Rolling onto my back, Sky crawled on top of me, unbuttoning her shirt. The water rising underneath my body had me slowly sinking as it drew back into the ocean. Running my hands up and down her wet thighs, Sky put my arms above my head, giving a salty kiss before sitting up. Running into me, sinking with the wave's motion, I felt myself harden beneath her. Without any hesitation, Sky and I tore at each other's clothing, ripping the fibers from our yearning bodies. In one swift movement, I was deep inside Sky, feeling the tightness of her interwoven tissue that clenched around me as her nails dug into my ribcage. I rested against the sand, letting Sky ride to her delectation, feeding from the opportunist look in my eyes. Making our way from the shore to the shower to the kitchen table and the countertops, Sky and I made our mark on all surfaces but the bed. And crumbling from sheer weakness, I fell into the pile of sheets gathered on the hardwood floor, where Sky rested on my chest. I am yours, long after my heart's last beat. My love, my passion, and my loyalty stand unbreakable. I kissed the top of her head, tightening my grip. Weighing a silence of appreciation, Sky drifted off into sleep. Alright guys, that is the end of chapter 12. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back with 13 in time, so thank you guys and enjoy your night.